what's going on there for crypto creators. I'm usually doing this way because there's middle of the work day, and you can hear by the sounds outside that we have the sound of a live Hollywood studio going on, a lot of construction on the stages right now. But I wanted to jump in quickly into two things that happened yesterday that were pretty landmark in terms of NFT creation. So this is a channel for creators, for those into music or fine arts, Funko Pops. If you're a creator and you want to try to utilize blockchain, we want to start conversations to keep you stimulated into expressing yourself through these new technologies of blockchain and reaching your audience, because it's a fantastic time for this. It's unparalleled. I think what we have right now with these two projects, Stoner Cats and Vogu, are considerable experiments within narrative tying into blockchain. So the Stoner Cats have it's a traditional pitch. This is it's kind of feeling like you're a studio executive in a sense, because you're getting Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis Seth McFarlane. It's like Mila asked for Seth, and they probably knew Chris Rock and Jane Fonda, and it was like, hey, we want to go around and pitch this idea about these cats who become sentient by getting stoned off of their owner's supply, who I think she passes away, or she's so stoned that she passes out, and the weed goes into the fireplace, and the cats breathe it, and they come alive, become sentient. Funny premise. I think they wanted to do, in terms of execution, something that was very, maybe a bit too adult, or this is sort of fringe material that necessarily you would find outside of Comedy Central. So there's a very limited number of outlets that are going to showcase a show like this, rooted in Stoner culture, and probably they wanted to do something very adult oriented. So you have the Adult Swims of the world, you have again very small animated niche areas within sort of the world that can distribute that. And to be honest, with the artwork I saw, probably weren't getting a lot of bites. I think it's an incredible cast of super talented people, and to some degree, I think they excel. In a marketing strategy for any network. But what is the time commitment of Chris Rock and McFarlane? How rooted are they in the creation of these characters? It's unknown. And so some things don't quite fit in terms of making this a traditional, animated show. And so through its traditional routes. And so Mila and Ashton were just like, well, let's just, do this as an NFT. I saw an interview with Mila, and she's like, well, what's an NFT 2 years ago? Like us all, really. Having no idea what it is. And I think that, her and Ashton are, they're very smart and very nice people. We see them around town, very tuned in to, I think, emerging, not just culture, but emerging technologies for sure. I mean, look at Ashton's investments. Those are like Sean Connery, Ashton's investments. So Ashton's investments, say that 5 times fast. Ashton's investments, in tech and Foursquare and stuff are, he's pretty well known in that space. And so for him to do this, it's a no-brainer. And, for them to connect directly with, potentially fans of theirs, from that 70s show, and obviously McFarlane and Rock, and even Jane Fonda, I think is an interesting person. So, seeing, sort of their performance within these things. And they had the founder of ETH voicing one. It was weird. I think it's probably just a guest spot. He wasn't touted as being part of the show super hard, but I think it's interesting that he's part of this project. And so I think that brought a lot of, I felt like safety. Like, it was a great play by Ashton and Mila to bring him aboard, because that brings saying, hey, we're going to launch on ETH, which we're going to get to. I want to make this video more about Stoner Cats, and then we're going to get into Vogu. huge drops here, guys. These were insane what they did to the network. And so I'm going to break them up into two things, Stoner Cats, and then I'll do another video for Vogu, because Stoner Cats set the stage and Vogu blew up the stage. It was quite incredible what was happening. And I got some video to prove it. So it was kind of awesome. So I just kind of kept recording. And so, so when you walk through Stoner Cats, they, we're trying to mint 2 days ago, and they found internally that it wasn't quite working out. And if you're following Stoner Cats, you know all about this BS. And so, they're going out with the show, and like I said, Ashton and Mila were like, let's just do this with blockchain. And got their friends, got their voices. Essentially, I think they're trying to raise money, $8 million to get it, to be precise, to fund this, and they did. They did it in, I think the official mark was 35 minutes, but you'll see with my video, it was about 40 minutes of since mint launch, into they got buyers for about $800 each per mint. And it was a sort of an off number because they were doing about 10,420 of them, but they're also retaining 3,000 for themselves to distribute rewards, etc. throughout the first season, perhaps even further on. And so anyway, here's what it feels like before a mint, and it was super enjoyable. It was super enjoyable to see mints, and to see this one be the epitome of what it's like to be part of a mint. So this is on the Discord server, and you get a sense of how many people are interested in a particular project based on how many members that they're able to have on social media. And so Discord is a very strong one, because Discord tends to be the one that they will launch links for, tends to be the most loyal and most active in terms of breaking down variations and conversations between welcome announcements, launch day info, etc. And so the Discord server, you can disseminate information to small groups who are in certain chat rooms. And so we have this Discord. Sorry, it's my first time using. Okay, so you get a sense of the feel of what it's like just before mints, right? It's like everybody is crazy happy. There's this story that they keep meaning about how excited they are. I feel like these are just weird bots or people who are shilling, because eventually you have a lot of people who are just super FOMOing and super excited about this, and of course you got a couple of people who kind of don't care for the shilling at all. They'll be vocal, but for the most part, you have people who are just FOMOing like crazy, wanting to hate them hard on this project. And the level of hype sort of fizzled, because yesterday it was through the roof. It was like, oh my gosh, this is coming, this is here. And so we move into the next phase. And so the next phase is sold out phase. This is okay, they reached it again 35 minutes. They sold out, and everyone's relatively happy about that. And so I'll get better at this. And so what had happened though was, you can see there was cancellations, and this is the big lesson, the big takeaway here, guys. There's going to be two major ones that have to do with how to deal with NFTs in the future, and how not to get completely fucking wrecked. Stoner Cats created a minor gas war. Gas wars are becoming more and more common. You all know the limitations of the Ethereum network. But this is the surprising part, is these are only about 10,000 people. Not even 10,000, because you have people who are buying multiples. So you have 3,000 or 4,000 people who are trying to buy multiples of this thing. All at once. Ostensibly, they're doing it in a narrow time frame. But this is putting such hard pressure currently on the system of miners which I thought was way stronger than this. And but that pressure, bottlenecks and then creates, to offset the bottleneck of data, they create higher pricing in gas fees. And so you'll pay more for the transaction. That's what the gas fee is. Percent of that because you're here. And so, the thing is we start seeing people canceling. They're like, oh, the gas fee's at $300 or $30. Gas fee's $282. Gas fee at $400. And so it was kind of like, oh, is this really happening? And so I think I took down one of my video slides, but I started to get the sense that, you're paying me $800 for the cat, and then you're going to pay about another $400. That's $12. If it's part of a show, which, to be fair, it's probably one of the nicer offerings in terms of what an NFT means today, but in terms of participation in a show, they're not offering you any piece of the pie. You get, a couple of, you get to view their show in a very elitist way. The community of it seems super motivated. I think they were fans of comedy, and that's cool. But they weren't super motivated other than they thought that this thing was going to move. And I think that's all of them. I mean, we'll step into Vogu several months. I talked a bit about degens. It's very, very, people want to make money doing this, and you can. And we see it here with Stoner Cats. Because the people that were mint are automatically, they're putting things up right away. This one didn't have any reveal stage, because sometimes they have like the Vogu. And then the degens, you might have a few days of a reveal stage where you don't jam. It's just going to show you this one thing. And then you'll find out what you have a few days of a reveal thing. And then you have like rarity tools to get in, exactly how rare your piece is. With a release like Stoner Cats, you just kind of get the things, and you're like, is it rare? There's one guy, I don't know if I have the screenshot, but he minted The Woman That's Dead. So of the other things, he minted the Woman That's Dead. And I was like, dude, that's gotta be rare. So you can see here, 515 gas. I mean, these people, at first I was just like, oh, is this real? Are they just complaining that, the gas fees are a bit high? And I was like, okay, I looked at it myself, and again, I'll show you in the next video where I did a real examination with Vogu, and it's through the roof, and these are not exaggerations. And so they sold out pretty quick. Going from that guy to the getting wrecked. A lot of people got wrecked because they put their money into the gas fees, which you don't get back. So you have this $800 price for this thing that people are competing to mint for. Then you also have the gas fee. There are two things you can do. You can cancel it. You're going to lose your gas fee. But you're going to retain that, if it's in time, retain that $800 for the cat, for the NFT. And I'll show you again. Some great things are going to happen, but I did both just to kind of A and B test it because there are people who believe both, and I heard both on both Discords saying, like, oh, just let the transaction die on the line and you'll get your money back. You don't. You have to cancel. There's a huge lesson here. If you guys feel like you're about to get not going to make it in a project, you got to cancel, or you're going to die on the vine, and that's going to take your initial NFT fee as well. And here's where I was a little disappointed with this countdown, because it's saying there's 3,000 cats remaining, but this is the sold out, because they're retaining, remember, 3,000 cats for their own distribution through the series. And so they did 10,420 initially, and then 13,420 overall. And so people who thought they might have had a transaction pending at 3,000 as you're kind of counting down normally, you would be like, oh, okay, there's about 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 left, in the project. Okay, good, there's 5,000 left. And we're about halfway there through the thing. And you might have started feeling confident that your transaction is going to go through, but you didn't know that they're withholding in this countdown 3,000. So we had about 2,000. So a lot of people didn't know, and they got causes were. And so yeah, there's this guy who lost $700 on a contract, and it's just outrageous the prices, and I do a couple more of these, but I think it's just pretty common to see ourselves losing a lot in gas fees when we're trying to mint at this stage. And so maybe secondary and sitting at open seas is the best bet these days, because you'll see why. This was pretty insane. To pay 50% VIG just to make the transaction go, and the transaction doesn't go. And there's just a lot of things were popping up about how many people were in on this project and how many were buying. So when you have somebody who's buying 20 at a time, you're like, well, what's the limitation here? There's somebody who's reported at 420. I don't believe that they had 420 cats, but if I looked at the Etherstand, and I did pull up Etherstand, I think, on Vogu. Then I keep hyping up this next video, Vogu. But it's a good one. But you can see how many people had certain things, and there were people who were holding a lot of Stoner Cats. Like they were like, they call them whales, but they might have just been friends of the project, and they were holding a lot. And so there were certain people who were holding, so in terms of decentralization, it wasn't very decentralized as a project, because you have not only this limitation of the wealthy enough to do a $1,200 transaction for NFT, which only has the value of being associated with the project monetarily. In the secondary market, who knows what it equals. Being part of this community, nobody knows yet, and I think that's the challenge of creators, is to give utility and value through this sort of lifespan of an NFT, which is ostensibly pretty eternal if decentralization is as billed as something that is not going to. If Facebook closes down, their goods are eternal, right? But this is something that Web 3.0 ostensibly, because it's decentralized, should live on much longer than any single company, any single entity. Government's afraid of any single government. And so, so that's Stoner Cats. I don't know how we ended up at government Big Brother, but we're just talking about Stoner Cats. It was a fun project. I ended up not getting into it because I got in there and I saw just the high gas fees, and again the number of people that were actually holding didn't seem very centralized and equitable. There were some elements of a cash grab sort of feel. Not to say that it was. I think I really respect that Ashton and Mila got their feet wet in this way, and really were pioneers in the space. When everyone's trying to figure out a way, and they just raised $8 million for an animation series, and so they're going to go into production, and they're going to look at how to build community and be at the forefront of how to build culture and community and around art that they like. These cats that get high. So it'll be interesting to follow, and all that stuff. Now I'll pop back in, and I'll do a review of Vogu, which was this times 10. And so some great things. Get out there and create things.